Alright, welcome guys. Here to discuss some hardware specification. Here we are looking at the three major components in our computer system. We want to look at the type of processors, the speed of the processor, the memory, and our hard drive, and the different types of hard drives out there. So after this discussion, I hope you can make a good decision when you are going to buy your new laptop or your personal computer. So let us look at some objectives that we have up here. Alright, so for the processor, and I have a small processor chip. Many persons would not identify this easily. The processor is what processes all the data, and it is located on the motherboard. Right? So the processor chip, and this is what it actually looks like, process all data within your computer system. So your central processing unit this is what we call right here. So we have two popular types out there, and we're going to discuss the popular types that you will relate to. And we have the type in terms of AMD processors. So we have AMD processors out there, would identify with the AMD, or you can identify it as Intel processor, right? So Intel is more of the popular brand in most of the computer because of its gaming capabilities, and persons who like to play games, so would tend to go for the different types of Intel. You can also identify them with the iCore series, or you can say iCore 7, iCore 8, iCore 9, you'll find them out there like that. So Intel is the more popular type that you will see in terms of the type of processors out there. The processor speed of how we process data is measured in hertz. Hertz is what we use to measure the processor speed. So in old computer systems, you would record the speed in megahertz. Or the new modern type of computer systems would now come in gigahertz. So you'll see them in gigahertz. So you'll see some computer which says 3.5 GHz, which says 3.5 gigahertz here. So this tells you the speed of the computer, right? So the higher you go in terms of number and in terms of gigahertz, the faster your processor will be, right? We have processors now going up to 5.5 gigahertz. That is acceptable standard there for processing speed. So identify your processor as the type AMD or Intel processors, and you are looking for gigahertz for your modern processor speed. Now we want to talk about the memory. Remember, we talk about memory as your random access memory. So here we have a few chips. We have some memory chips here. So we'll use this bigger version in our desktop version computer, and we'll use a smaller version in our laptops or our notebook computers, right? So notice the size compared to the other one. So here we're looking at the popular type, our synchronous dynamic random access memory, as it says RAM, random access memory. There are different types. We're looking at the first types that we used to have, DDR, and DDR stands for double data rate, right? So as you increase in numbers, it tells you that the data rate is going to be doubled by 2, or it's going to be tripled, or it's going to be 4 times the original data rate that is here. So what we're saying is that if I go and purchase a DDR memory chip, and it says DDR3, it means that my data rate is going to be 3 times that of the other types that are out there. So what we're looking for is the increase in number for your memory chip, and the memory capacity in terms of size. Here we are looking for gigabyte, GB. So we know that you can purchase a 2 gigabyte memory chip, right? But if you purchase a 4 gigabyte or a 8 gigabyte or a 16 gigabyte, the higher you go in numbers is the more data can be loaded in your random access memory. So it gives you more space to process information, and the faster you can retrieve and write information, right? So the higher you go, and the higher you go in terms of capacity, is the better for you when purchasing a system. You look for the identification of the type of memory. So you want to look at our hard drive here, right? So we have 3 types here. We have our first type, IDE hard drive, integrated drive, electronic there. So what we are saying is that notice this hard drive is a bit bulkier, right? It's bigger, and notice the size of the cable. It takes up a lot of space. It's big. So this was our first type hard drive system, and it has been taken over by a newer version which we call the SATA drive, right? Or some person will call it SATA drive, right? Notice in terms of the cable size, the cable is much smaller than our actual size here, right? So the reduction in size of the cable means that you can fit this in a more compact size computer system, right? Now, most computers will come with SATA drive, right? And notice that each one of these drives comes with a movable part in there to move the disk. So it has a mechanical component to it to access the data. So it's going to take time to read and write the data. So the access speed for these devices are going to be slower. So we have newer device out here now which we call our solid state drive, which uses flash memory. Notice it is smaller in size compared to what is our first type SATA drive. Also, as I said earlier, that it uses the flash memory, right? It doesn't carry any moving parts, so access times is 10 times faster than your regular hard drive, right? So this is what you will find in the newer types of devices. So when you are purchasing a newer device or a new laptop, ensure that it comes with a solid state drive. It will increase the performance of your computer, and access time to data is much faster. It is also cooler because it doesn't carry any moving parts, so the drive is going to operate at a cooler temperature, right? And notice it takes up less space, right? The speed originally for the SATA and the IDE hard drives would have been measured in revolution per minute. So you would see some of the speed. So the speed determines how fast the drive can spin for you to access the data. So you would see some saying 5,400 RPM. That's how fast it can spin. But for the solid state drive, the speed is measured in megabits per second, just like how you would download data from the internet. So that's how fast the speed or the access to data would be on your drive. So when you are purchasing a new laptop, ensure that you identify the type of processor that is within the device. Ensure that you can identify either AMD or Intel, which is a popular type. The higher you go in terms of the number or the series, it is better. And you can look out for the size or the speed for the processor. The higher in number, the faster the processor will be for you. The memory, we are at DDR3, some will have DDR4, etc. Higher you go in terms of memory size, 8 gig, 16 gig is more space for your random access memory to operate, right? And when you're purchasing your hard drive, if it says SATA, no problem, but the better option would to have a solid state drive there. And the solid state drive is a faster drive to access data for your system. So if you put in the right components in your device, you will get better performance out of it. So feel free to share your comments, and remember to click the subscribe button, and we'll get back at a later time with more videos. So thank you for watching.